Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Great Basin Prospecting here, your one-stop shop for nonstop rocks. And here's a quick look at the rocks that we're going to be checking out this week. All 7 of them are awesome, and all 7 of them come to us from the shores of Lake Michigan, and courtesy of a fellow rockhound up there. So big thanks for that. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and let me know your favorites down in the comments. And welcome back to all the current subscribers, and let's go ahead and get to it. So first up, we've got this rock. So from the outside, we can see that it's mostly this yellow, tannish brown color, and there's a little bit of clear crystal that we can see at the very top of the rock. But I was really curious as to what the inside looked like, and I was not expecting it to be a beautiful cold water agate, but that is what we've got going on here. And it's a really cool rock with the blues and the whites, and we have a couple little crystal caves that are going on there too. You can see those subtle gray and white bands that form under very low temperature conditions, far cooler than the volcanic agates out in Nevada where I am. And these developed in silica-rich groundwater that slowly filled in cracks and cavities in ancient limestone, which is pretty neat. Here's a look at the other half. Again, just really beautiful. Love the blues and the whites and the patterns that we've got going on here. I think these will polish up really nicely, and there's quite a bit of stone left on these. Really cool. Okay, next up, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, you can see we're dealing with something a little bit different here. The lighter colored material is all crystal, so it's quite clear and lights up with the flashlight. And then we can see that there's little bits of other rocks on the inside. And what a cool cross section this is of a conglomerate, or as they're known, a pudding stone. And the reds are really what make this one unique or really cool for me, because they just pop so much out of the rest of the crystal, which we can see is actually a little bit more complicated than it might have looked at first. We have some spots where it's just clear, but the rest of the matrix is almost a mossy agate looking type material. Really pretty. Let's take a look at the other half. And those reds and blacks are just so vibrant. Really, really beautiful. Haven't seen one like this before, and really glad that I made the cut this way. And yeah, love the color. Okay, next up, let's check out this rock. So if you've watched the channel before, then you know what you're looking at here. This is a Septarian nodule, also known as a lightning stone, due to the cool crystal veins that are often present on the inside. And on the outside, it looks kind of just like this. There's a little bit of crystal you can see, but when you look at the inside, look at that. That is amazing. So this is one of the coolest ones that I've cut. I absolutely love the pattern on this. We've got the calcite veins filled in almost entirely. And this one reminds me of like a map of some medieval town or city or something like that, where the grid isn't laid out in a square. Really, really beautiful. When we look at the individual halves here, I think this one will polish up really nicely also. Here's a look at the other half. Interesting, on one spot there, the calcite vein is kind of blown up towards the bottom into a little bit of a lake there, but really beautiful patterns on this one. Okay, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, right away, we can see this is mostly an orange color, and really kind of a neat orange peach color. And there's a little bit of lighter coloration, which to me looked like quartz crystal. And didn't know what it would look like on the inside, and it's actually a lot prettier than I thought that it was going to be. And this to me looks like a mix of feldspar and quartz. The orange coloration comes from iron-stained feldspar, and the lighter translucent zones are quartz crystals locked in right alongside it. This is likely a granitoid that's been polished down a little bit, but really, really pretty. Taking a closer look at the individual halves here, a lot of cool pattern going on in the orange as well. Okay, next up, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, you can see we've got a lot of interesting stuff going on. We've got greens, we've got oranges, we've got reds, maybe a little bit of blue in there, a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I thought this would probably look pretty neat on the inside. And it does. That is beautiful. Wow. So this, I think, is an Epidote and granite conglomerate. As we can see, there's a nice little triangle of granite there. And then most of it is green. And then the green itself is mixed in with different smaller class as well. So a whole lot going on here in this one. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at the individual halves. So we can see that the smaller pieces within the green are quartz and a little bit of orange feldspar. So this was almost trying to be a unikite, but didn't quite get there. And then just a really nice triangle of granite there you can see here, and then a little bit of red going on in the upper portion also. Really cool one. Okay, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, we can see what looks like mostly a green color, a little bit of red going on within the green, and some crystallization as well on the top. So let's take a look at the inside, and that is really neat. So this is another conglomerate, I think, and this is just an Epidote-rich conglomerate. We've got a little bit of red that has snuck in, especially in the top portion of the rock where it's a bit more fractured. And then we can see the much smaller grains, for the most part, of the green in the lower 2/3 of the rock, really. But a really unique one with the way that it's broken up into kind of two different parts, with one being the olive green and the other being a very deep green with some cool reds in there too. But a really pretty one. Okay, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, you can see we've got something different going on. We've got a lot of little tiny fossils on the outside of this. So this is what's called a Packstone. And what's interesting about this one too is we can see some of those clay nodules, which here's one of, we have a cross section of here that looks really nice. That could have turned into a Septarian nodule, one of the lightning stones, had it formed separately from this and stayed separate from it and then dried and cracked and filled in with crystal, etc. But anyway, here it is stuck inside this Packstone with all these little cross sections of shells. So this is a sedimentary rock that was part of probably an ancient seabed shoreline area. Really, really pretty and really cool. I've never cut one of these open before, so it was neat to see the inside. And that's it for this week. Thanks so much for checking the rocks out. Make sure to let me know your favorites down in the comments. Thanks again to all the current subscribers. And if you're new to the channel and you made it this far, please consider subscribing. And I will see you all next time.